podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Blueberry.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Come on. We got all these shows to do. Delays. We're not going to get these done. We got 4 shows to do. Ugh. Honey?
Yeah.
Why won't the office door open?
Oh, they came. Awesome.
What came?
The bags of glitter that I ordered.
You promised me no glitter this year. I don't want to spend the first vacuuming like I did last year.
Oh, not to worry. It's biodegradable glitter.
What part of I don't want any glitter do you not understand?
Well, I thought biodegradable glitter would be okay.
Yeah, maybe in 3 years. It ain't going to happen overnight, you know.
Oh.
All this time and not enough of it. We got 4 shows, 4 fantastic, great, stupendous.
Somebody got a thesaurus for Christmas.
We got 4 shows, 4 great big stupendous shows filled with year-end stuff, movies, entertainment, passings, and everything else, plus our awards and all that stuff, all rolled up into complete look at this year, 2019. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
And installment 1 is coming up.
Right now, actually in a minute, because I have some bags to move. Here on Subject Cinema. Yay.
On air, online, on now. From the hub of the universe, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, this is Subject Cinema, with your hosts, T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
And one more way up on top to the top of the pile, please go, and woo! Hey, it stayed, yay.
Be good and glad it did.
Well, it did. It's cool. Everything's fine. All the bags of glitter nicely pushed up against the wall. Everything's fine as long as they don't leak.
And they don't fall over.
Welcome
to Subject Cinema's year-end extravaganza, Part 1. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Subject
I'm
Cinema
also kidding. We don't have boxes and boxes of glitter
we have
in here.
boxes and boxes of stuff, but glitter ain't one of them. Subject Cinema number 640 as we head into another decade. 2020 is coming up in a few days, and we'll be talking about that in the future. Over the next 4 days, we're going to give you an installment a day of different stuff that's been happening this year. Later on, of course, we have 2 shows to wrap up the year, our Just 'Cause We Can awards and our Poppies and Rosies, such as they are. We didn't see that much again this year. The previous 2 days, though, today and tomorrow, we'll be talking about just general stuff that's going on. Entertainment news tomorrow. And today, we're going to go and take a look at the critics. Critics have been fighting a lot this season. A lot of the same movies keep popping up on the year-end award lists, and a lot of them, of course, are are pissing other people off because, not enough hashtag insert here, women, African Americans, Asians, not enough, lutefisk, who knows. Anyway.
I did not need that image.
There's not enough lutefisk! So we're gonna just run down these, and Kim will probably just be sitting over there. She'll just be sitting over there.
I'll be just sitting over here.
Mr. Herzog and Miss Lori here. Going through some of the big critics lists that have come out so far, also the major nominations and a couple of the awards that have already happened. Mm-hmm. All of this will be leading into early January when the Golden Globe awards will be handed out on January 5th, and the Oscar nominations announced on January 9th. Now, the reason they're announcing so early, normally it would be announced like at the end of January, is because the Oscar ceremony is happening on Sunday, February 9th, 3 weeks before it's normally held.
Yeah.
There was some reason for this. I don't remember what it was, and it's only this year. Next year it will go back to late February. I don't know, or early March. I'm not sure why they did that, but it's really driving people crazy. I mean, we even actually have access to all of our Spirit Award nominees online already. Normally we wouldn't get it till the first week of January, but they're like, oh my God, because the Spirit Awards happen the same weekend as the Oscars, and they realize nobody will have time to vote if we wait until the end of the year.
I'm kind of wondering if it's a theory to see if they can make the ratings suck less, but well, if that's the case, I think they're being wildly optimistic.
Yeah. Let's get to the first group. We're going to split this up into a couple of different groups, I think, because there's a lot of them. Always the first, or usually the first to announce, is a group out of New York calling themselves the National Board of Review. Now, this group is neither film critics nor people involved with the film industry. These are a group of fans, most of them college students from the New York area, who come together every year in the remnants of what used to be the people that used to run the Hays Code and select their favorite movies of the year. A lot of time, their favorites are picked with an eye to their January award show and who they can suck up to get them to come to New York and be a part of their banquet. I mean, this is a known fact within Hollywood and within other critics groups. It's not taken very seriously by the awards, by the Gold Derby people and the awards daily people, the people who follow this stuff for a living, the prognosticators, as we call them around here. So this is what we have. We have
other words for them too, but since we try and keep this a family show, we're not going to say
this is what we have from them for their best. They were announced in early December. And this is what National Board of Review picked. The best picture of the year, best film, went to The Irishman, Martin Scorsese's Netflix film. Best director to Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best actor to Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems. Best actress, Renee Zellweger, Judy. Let me backtrack for a minute. When did you ever, in your wildest dreams, people, when did you ever think you would ever hear the words best actor and Adam Sandler right after each other? Yes?
You're not wrong.
Best actress, Renee Zellweger for Judy. Best supporting actor, Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best supporting actress, Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell. This is them sucking up to Clint Eastwood like they always do. Best original screenplay went to the Safdie brothers and Ronald Bronstein for Uncut Gems. Adapted screenplay to Steve Zetterlund for The Irishman. Breakthrough performance to Paul Walter Hauser for Richard Jewell. Directorial debut to Melina Matsoukas for for Queen and Slim. Best animated feature went to How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. What? That's not on anybody else's radar. Best foreign language film, Parasite. Best documentary, Maiden. Best ensemble, Knives Out. Outstanding achievement in cinematography to Roger Deakins for 1917. The NPR Icon Award to Martin Scorsese. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. The NBR Freedom of Expression Award to For Sama, the documentary, and Freedom of Expression Award also to Just Mercy. Their lists this year, if I can get down the page here, it's being a pain. Their top films in alphabetical order this year were 1917, Dolomite Is My Name, Ford vs. Ferrari, Jojo Rabbit, Knives Out, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Richard Jewell, Uncut Gems, and Waves. Now, can I ask a question?
Yep.
Where's The Irishman? It won Best Film. Why isn't it on their best list?
I don't know.
What? Best foreign language, top foreign language films in alphabetical order. Atlantic, Invisible Life, Pain and Glory, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and Transit. Again, Paradise isn't there. They usually don't include their awards in the lists. The top 5 documentaries this year alphabetically, except apparently for what won. American Factory, Apollo 11, The Black Godfather, Rolling Thunder Review, a Bob Dylan story by Martin Scorsese, and Wrestle, which is about high school wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Top independent films in alphabetical order. The Farewell, Give Me Liberty, A Hidden Life, Judy, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Midsummer, The Nightingale, The Peanut Butter Falcon, The Souvenir, and Wild Rose. Okay, let's make a full confession. I don't think we've seen any of these yet this year.
I don't think so.
We've been trying to. The last couple months have been hard for us to get to the films that come out recently. So we will, try to get them in sometime and get them on reviewed sometime. But just because I'm dying to see like 6 of them, and we totally missed A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood at our local theater. It's gone already. So it's like, are you kidding? So that's National Board of Review. They're always quite a group of characters. So are the people in Boston. Our Boston film critics are always a blast, and the Boston Film Critics is Boston Society of Film Critics. I don't want to mix them up with the Boston Online Critics Society.
Clear your chi.
Yeah. Here, December 15th, they named their list. Best Picture, Little Women. Okay. This is there's a schism going on right now. Best Actor, Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems. Best Actress, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. Supporting Actor, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Supporting Actress, Laura Dern, Marriage Story. Best Director, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Screenplay, Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Cinematography to Claire Maton for Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Best Documentary went to Honeyland. Best Foreign Language Film, Parasite. Best Animated Film, I Lost My Body. Best Film Editing to Thelma Schooner for The Irishman. Best New Filmmaker to Joe Talbot for The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Best Ensemble Cast, Little Women. Best Original Score, Alexander Desplat for Little Women. So they're obviously big champions of Greta Gerwig's new version of Little Women.
I guess so.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Boston championing that film. Let's move on. Chicago's Film Critics Society announced at the same time. Interesting changes here between film critics. Usually there's some kind of a balance.
Mm-hmm. There's something everybody agrees on, usually.
This year,
a running theme.
There's things. 3 or 4, and they all split different directions. So the Oscars are going to be interesting. From Chicago Film Critics, Best Picture, Parasite. Best Director, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Best Actor, Adam Driver, Marriage Story. Best Actress, and this is the one that's been controversial so far, Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Supporting Actor, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Supporting Actress, Florence Pugh for Little Women. Original Screenplay, Parasite. Adapted Screenplay, Little Women. Foreign Language Film, Parasite. Documentary, Apollo 11. Animated Feature, Toy Story 4. Cinematography, Roger Deakins for 1917. Editing to Thelma Schoonmaker for The Irishman. Best Costume Design, Little Women. Art Direction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Original Score, Little Women. Visual Effects, Ad Astra, which isn't anywhere else in the talk right now. Promising Performer, Aisling Franciosi from The Nightingale. And the Milos Stalik Breakthrough Filmmaker Award to Lulu Wang for The Farewell. Now, 6 months ago, The Farewell was on top of everybody's lips as an Oscar contender. Mm-hmm. I've heard zero buzz about it the last couple of weeks. Everybody's fighting about there's 4 big movies, 5 if you count Quentin, and it's only big in a couple of categories. Parasite and Irishman have been duking it out.
Yep.
Parasite is this dark comedy thriller from Bong Joon-ho about the lower class working for the upper class. Mm-hmm. It's gotten rave reviews. It won the Cannes Film Festival's Palme d'Or this year. Huge fit. Irishman is this CGI-laden, years off, melted off Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in a mob story that Scorsese is best doing, and it involves Jimmy Hoffa and a bunch of other stuff. The other one
There's a whole bunch of stuff I could say there, but it would all come off so incredibly catty.
Like what?
No, I'm not.
No, go ahead, please.
Martin Scorsese's doing a movie about organized crime figures? Really? That's such new material for him.
Gee, maybe he ought to take on a Marvel movie.
I'm sorry, was that too sarcastic, or was that just the right amount?
That was fine, Miss Kale. Thank you. The other movie that's in the mix in there is now Little Women. People were freaking out because Little Women got 0 nominations from certain places. And Greta Gerwig is everybody's go-to female filmmaker right now after Lady Bird a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And she's a dynamite actress and she's a dynamite writer. But Little Women's been told 18,000 times. Most recently, a modern update just last year. So it's like, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, the cast is stupendous. It's got Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh, Emma Watson, Timothée Chalamet. Great people in it. But and now there's this big brouhaha going on, from one of the columnists, one of the critics, who are claiming that men are bashing on Little Women and refusing to see it. Meaning men critics. And so there's this big fuss. You want to follow it, go over to Hollywood Elsewhere. Hollywoods-elsewhere.com from Jeff Wells. He's funny as hell when you look at this stuff, because he hasn't put up with that crap. Anyway, the other one that's kind of in the mix is Marriage Story. Marriage Story is also direct to Netflix from Noah Baumbach, but it has a strong cast, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson leading it, and it's basically a modern day sort of Kramer versus Kramer with a few other things thrown in. Great reviews so far. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen it yet because the subject matter doesn't interest me. I will probably watch it soon simply because I can and because I love Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But the other one that's driving people crazy, a number of critics have been having conniption fits about Lupita Nyong'o. She is a highly competent actress.
She's an amazing actress.
Great stuff she's done. Probably best known to most fans for her role in 12 Years a Slave, mm-hmm. and also as Maz Kanata in the Star Wars sequels, where you just hear her voice, of course. Mm-hmm. She's got CGI everywhere. And she didn't have a big part in this movie, which I thought she did. So
she had a bigger part in this than she did in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, she did. That was barely anything.
Yeah.
But people are ragging on, why her, what happened to Renee Zellweger, where's Saoirse Ronan and Florence Pugh, and it's a horror film, basically. It's another Jordan Peele horror film. I don't know, I haven't seen it. I love her as an actress. She's great. I think she's a great person. Little Monsters is currently on Hulu. It got great reviews at Sundance this year. So I am kind of mystified by the wins that this movie is getting. Simply because of the type of movie it is. It's not usually something that the critics go out for. Let's move on to the Noodleheads of New York, as we always do, as we call them here in Boston. The New York Film Critics Circle and their main awards. Gee, what a shock. Movies set in New York mostly? Yeah. Best Picture, The Irishman. Best Directors, Josh and Benny Safdie for Uncut Gems. Best Screenplay, Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best Actress, Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Best Actor, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory. He's a long shot in most of these. Best Supporting Actress, Laura Dern for both Marriage Story and Little Women. Supporting Actor to Joe Pesci for The Irishman. He came out of retirement to do this movie. Mm-hmm. Cinematography to Claire Mathon for Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Best Animated Film, I Lost My Body. Best Nonfiction Film, Documentary. I don't know why they put that in there. Honeyland. Foreign language film, Parasite. Best first film to Mati Diop for Atlantics. Special awards to Indy Collect, Randy Newman, and Cole Kronman, the student scholarship this year. So there's nothing really new in that one.
No.
Except for Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
Who is actually on a few critics lists for... He's probably going to get an Oscar nomination, but I don't know if he's actually got a shot at winning. Pain and Glory is getting rave reviews from the critics. Los Angeles, on the other hand, went the other direction. Parasite for Best Picture. Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, director. Antonio Banderas, Best Actor. Mary Kay Place for Diane, Best Actress. Diane was a small little film that premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2018. Got a lot of people interested. It came out in theaters earlier this year. Jeff Wells at Hollywood Elsewhere has been its biggest champion. Mary Kay Place is a dynamically underrated actress who has been around, best known probably for one of two roles. If you're from our generation, the 70s, she's known as Loretta Hayward. Is that what her name was? I'm Mary Hartman. I never watched that
Today
she's known for being Meryl Streep's best friend in It's Complicated and the voice of Julie's mother in Julie and Julia.
Yep.
Plus tons of voiceover work.
Yeah. And
I've loved Mary Kay Place for 30 years, and it's nice to see her getting some recognition for this film. I'd still like to see it. Best Supporting Actor, Song Kang-ho for Parasite. Best Supporting Actress, Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers. Another movie that's on the fringe of the Oscar talk. Best Screenplay to Marriage Story, Noah Baumbach. Cinematography to Claire Mathon for Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Excuse me. Best Production Design to Barbara Ling for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best Editing to Todd Douglas Miller for Apollo 11. Best Music Score to Dan Levy for I Lost My Body. Let's talk a little bit about this. I Lost My Body is ramping up quickly at the end of the year to become a favorite animated film for critics. It is available on Netflix. It premiered on Netflix in November. It is a French anime comedy adventure drama aimed at older kids and adults. We haven't watched it, obviously, but it's gotten great word of mouth and some of the biggest awards of the year. When you got Pixar and everybody else to compete against here, that to have this keep coming out on top is something. Foreign language film from Los Angeles went to Pain and Glory. Best documentary or nonfiction film to American Factory. Best animated film to I Lost My Body. New generation film to Joe Talbot, Jimmy Fails, and Jonathan Majors for The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which was a huge hit at Sundance this year. Career achievement to Elaine May. The Douglas Edwards Experimental and Independent Film and Video Award went to Jatovia Gary's The Giverny Document. I'm not sure what that is. Not heard of that one. Phoenix. You guys know Phoenix had a Film Critics Society? Everybody's got a Film Critics Society.
Basically, any place where you've got more than two critics could constitute a Film Critics Society.
They do.
Really.
They do have one in Central Ohio, but they don't announce until early January, so we don't have the stuff. Phoenix's top 10 in alphabetical order were 1917, Avengers Endgame, woohoo! Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Knives Out, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, The Irishman, and The Two Popes. Well, they made the breach. They mentioned the J word. And God knows the wokesters don't want the J word mentioned at all at awards time. They did their best to sabotage it after it won the Golden Lion at Venice because, oh God, God forbid, it's a violent movie about violent times, and Joaquin Phoenix's performance is one of the best of the year. I mean, let's be honest. We thought it was phenomenal.
We did.
Best Picture went to Joker. Best Director, Sam Menzies for 1917. 1917 is now out in theaters and limited release. If you haven't heard of it, you will. This movie, all 114 minutes of it, was shot in one continuous shot. They did 3 takes of this film. That was it. And I mean, it's been a while since an American-based movie, although it's it's Britain. Sam Menzies is a British director, has tried something like this, and I think it's interesting that they are doing it. The awards are saying it's even better than Dunkirk, so that's something. Best actor to Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. Best actress Renee Zellweger. Supporting to Brad Pitt, and supporting actress to Laura Dern for Marriage Story. Ensemble to Knives Out, Rian Johnson's tongue-in-cheek whodunit, starring Daniel Craig. Screenplay adapted from other material, Jojo Rabbit. Overlooked Film of the Year, Hotel Mumbai. Animated film, Toy Story 4. Foreign language film, Parasite. Documentary, One Child Nation. Original song, Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. Best original score, best cinematography, best film editing, and best production design, all to 1917. Costume design to Rocket Man. Visual effects to Avengers Endgame. And breakthrough performance to Roman Griffin Davis, who is the little boy with Adolf Hitler as his sidekick in Jojo Rabbit. Mm-hmm. Interesting choices Phoenix decided to take. Is there something we haven't seen yet this year that you really think we shouldn't have missed, or we should try to see right away?
Well, there's several things that I still want to see, including Won't You Be My Neighbor and
that
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Sorry.
You've already seen Won't You Be My Neighbor.
I know. Sorry. I do want to see Parasite now that we've got the DVD. We got
our screener from the IFC. So
I can't think of anything like right off the top of my head. I would like to see Marriage Story.
Yeah. I want to see the two popes.
Even though Marriage Story, I would like to see, even though I know it's going to be like extremely, major flashbacks kind of thing, probably.
Marriage Story, I want to see simply because it's Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, two of my favorite actors on the planet right now.
I know. So if you find me like curled up in the bathtub sobbing, you'll know why.
Okay.
Hashtag coping skills. Hashtag I don't have any.
From the newly renamed San Francisco Bay Area Film Critics Circle, it's no longer just the San Francisco Film Critics Circle. Winners were Best Picture, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best Director, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Best Original Screenplay, Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won for Parasite. Best Adapted Screenplay, Taika Waititi, I can never say that poor man's name, for Jojo Rabbit. Best Actor, Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory. Best Actress, Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Best Supporting Actor, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Supporting Actress, Jennifer Lopez, Hustlers. Animated film, I Lost My Body. Foreign language film, Parasite. Documentary, Apollo 11. Cinematography, 1917. Production design, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Film editing, Ford versus Ferrari, which isn't getting the love from the critics groups that they thought it would. Best original score, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which I found interesting. That's from Emile Mosseri. Best original score, but of course it is San Francisco Film Critics, so that's kind of expected. Best citation for independent cinema, One Cut of the Dead from director Shinichiro Ueda. This movie played South by Southwest, I think. It might have been later. Got rave reviews. It is Japan's version of the zombie dark comedy, and apparently is absolutely terrifying and hilarious at the same time. I would like to see it. I wanted to see it when I first read about it. So it sounds interesting. Marlon Riggs Award, which is awarded to individuals who represent courage and innovation in the world of cinema, went to Jimmy Fails and Joe Talbot, the two filmmakers behind The Last Black Man in San Francisco. On the other end of the state, we've hit LA and San Francisco. Now let's go down to San Diego. San Diego has always kind of swung their own way, but this year they're kind of slipping in there with most of the other ones. Usually they have one or two that are just jaw-dropping winners. Not this year. Best Picture, The Irishman. Best Director, The Safdie Brothers, Uncut Gems. Best Actor, tie between Joaquin Phoenix for Joker and Adam Driver for Marriage Story. Best Actress, a tie. That was a runner-up. Best Actress, Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Best Supporting Actor, a tie. Joe Pesci for Irishman and Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best Actress, this was not a drop surprise, but it's nice to see it. Best Supporting Actress, rather, Zhao Shuzhen for The Farewell. Best Comedic Performance, Wesley Snipes, Dolomite Is My Name. Best Original Screenplay, Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story. Best Adapted Screenplay, J.C. Lee and Julius Ona for Loose. Loose was a huge hit at Sundance that kind of came out and kind of faded in the woodwork about a couple who take in a young refugee and then realize he might be up to no good. Got great reviews at Sundance. Documentary went to One Child Nation with the runner-up, Love Antosha. Woo! Happy. Best Animated Film, I Lost My Body. Best Foreign Language Film, Parasite. And there's a bunch more that I'm not even going to get into because there's too many. Also, Best Use of Music, Period Music, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Best Ensemble, Knives Out. Breakthrough Artist, Florence Pugh for both Little Women and Midsummer. Or Midsummer. I don't know how you pronounce that. Midsummer?
Not sure. I think it's Midsummer. Yeah. I don't know.
Because I know Midsummer Murders is summer, but this has got two M's. So it's not supposed to be the same thing. We got a lot more here than I thought we had. The winners of the African American Film Critics Circle, which specifically look at the place of actors of the African American community and the films aimed at them therein, goes like this. Best Film, Us. Best Director, Jordan Peele. Best Actor, Eddie Murphy for Dolomite Is My Name. Jordan Peele directed Us, by the way. Best Actress, Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Supporting Actor, Jamie Foxx for Just Mercy. Supporting Actress, Divine Joy Randolph for Dolomite Is My Name. Breakout Performance, Kelvin Harrison Jr. from Waves. Best Animated Film, Abominable. Best Documentary, The Black Godfather. Best Foreign Film, Parasite. Best Independent Film, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Impact Award went to Queen and Slim, and the We Will See You Award to Taylor Russell, the filmmaker of Waves. They're always interesting in their awards as well. I'm going to skip some of these smaller groups. Boston online film critics have their own group, of which we are not part of, and they didn't go the same way their not online critics went, although some of them are members of both groups. Picking Best Paradise as Best Picture, Best Director, Bong Joon-ho, Best Actor, Adam Sandler, Best Actress, Lupita Nyong'o, Best Supporting Actor, Brad Pitt, Best Supporting Actress, Florence Pugh, Best Screenplay for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Ensemble to Little Women, and a few other ones. Best Documentary, Apollo 11, Foreign Language Film, Parasite, and Animated Film, Toy Story 4. Okay. Now we got the critics groups out of the way. There's also Detroit and a few other ones, and there's a few more yet to come. We won't see the Central Ohio Film Critics Group or the Oklahoma Film Critics Group until the first week of January. Does anybody really care about those?
Hey,
no, I'm sorry if you live in that area. Yeah, fine.
Don't do that. Come on.
Well, I'm sorry. Every little film critics group has to get a list out for the public to see. When we come back, we will have the award winners for the Gotham Awards and the nominees for the critics, the Indie Spirit, and the Golden Globes, and that's coming back
when Subject Cinema returns.
Good times and great movies. Subject Cinema.
eCinemaOne is your choice for great info and commentary about the world of film and entertainment. Daily trailer postings, the latest news and film reviews, commentary about the state of the industry, the weekly Subject Cinema and 3-Minute Weekend podcast, and so much more you won't believe it. New material is being posted daily, so join us each day and see what you're missing out on. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaOne from PNRNetworks, eCinemaOne.com.
We probably can't cover the thousands of films made every year, but it's sure a lot of fun to try. Subject Cinema.
We're looking back at 2019 in the next 4 shows here on Subject Cinema. We're really glad you're looking back with us as we all look forward to 2020. Ow, that kind of hurt. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham. I'm sorry you're not getting a lot of it in here because I've got all the paperwork over here.
No.
This is kind of our rundown show.
I'm sure they're tired of listening to me talk, so, you know.
We try to bring you all the latest critic stuff, and I haven't had time to do it on the site, so we're just doing it all in this one segment. The Gotham Awards are not usually considered harbingers for the Academy Awards because, well, let's face it, New York just kind of goes off on their own tangent, and every year they're the first award ceremony, and this year was no exception, and no exception for going off on their own tangent. They only have 10 awards, and so it makes it easy. The Gotham Awards were handed out on December 5th, I believe. I don't remember the exact date. But their winners were as follows. The Best Picture of the year went to Marriage Story. Best Documentary to American Factory. The Bingham Ray Breakthrough Director Award to Laura de Clermont-Tonnerre for her critically acclaimed film The Mustang. Best Screenplay to Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story. Best Actor to Adam Driver for Marriage Story. Best Actress to Awkwafina for The Farewell. Best Breakthrough Actor to Taylor Russell for Waves. Breakthrough Series, long form from television, to When They See Us from HBO. Short form Breakthrough Series to Pen 15. And the Audience Award went to Marriage Story. So New York was highly behind Marriage Story from the very beginning. I'm not sure what they had on the Audience Award list this year, but it's an interesting and eclectic little group. Now, the other critics groups, I like the Critics' Choice Awards. I'm not going to go over everything because they have 10 nominees in every category, and it'll take us forever to get through it. But I do want to hit the main categories. Nominated for Best Picture from the Critics' Choice, 1917, Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, and Uncut Gems. Now, I find this interesting. There's been a lot of talk between certain critics, because not all the critics agree with each other.
Shocker. That
Uncut Gems is only worthy of the award for Best Actor, that Adam Sandler truly gives a career best performance in this film about a jeweler who gets hustles to be able to pay off his gambling debts. It has been described as too quick, moving at a frenetic pace, so fast you can't keep up with what little plot there is. And yet I see it nominated for so many awards. And I wonder, is that the critics doing this to placate the Safdie brothers lovers? Because they've got, they've been hitting the last 3 or 4 years. They've become the new Coen brothers. Or do they really believe it's that good? Because, there's a lot of...
Well, they're never going to admit, oh, yeah, you caught us.
The same thing as us. Us is doing the same thing. A lot of the critics loved the performances, but thought the movie was not that good. And so, interestingly... Best Actor nominees are Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory, Robert De Niro, The Irishman, Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver, Marriage Story, Eddie Murphy, Dolomite Is My Name, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, and Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems. We've seen one of these.
Yeah.
We can honestly say that Joaquin Phoenix deserves the nomination.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get a chance to review Joker on the show. We haven't reviewed much of anything for the last 2 years. We were saving it for our Netflix, for our Patreon show that we haven't launched yet. But his performance was riveting and electrifying. That movie was everything the critics said it was, in both ways. Mm-hmm. And not a movie I would want to see again real soon, but absolutely incredibly well done.
Oh,
and terrifically performed and everything.
I don't think I stopped holding your hand for the majority of that movie.
There's a lot of crazy stuff in that film.
Yeah, because it was just so intense. I was like, I wasn't like holding, I wouldn't say I was holding your hand because I was scared. I was just like...
Nervous.
Yeah. And it was one of those movies that after we left, we weren't like, most movies that we go see, even if it's something that makes us sad, or unless it really makes us sad, like Blood Brother, we'll talk about it. I don't think we said anything.
We did. We spoke about it. We went to eat at Chatter's afterward and chatted a little bit about it, but mostly about how unsettling it was. Although it was an excellent film, I would have given it an A.
It was like, could I just have like every chocolate thing you have on the menu, please? It was a great film, but wow, it's like wow,
exactly. Best Actress nominees here went to Awkwafina for The Farewell, Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Lupita Nyong'o for Us, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Charlize Theron for Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger for Judy. The ladies' awards, they were saying for a while that there wouldn't be enough performances this year for actress, but they've put out the probably the best ones here, plus Cynthia Erivo, who is said to be the only good thing about Harriet, which is the story of Harriet Tubman. She's terrific in that, we're told.
A person who should have a ton more statues around than
she does. Yeah. Awkwafina, who was on our Rising Stars list in 2018, a dynamic actress and comedian. The Farewell really launched her into the stratosphere. And with
everybody else.
Yeah.
Some of us were, like you just said, some of us were going, no, really? She's amazing. Wow, we had no idea.
But interestingly enough, the nomination of Charlize Theron for Bombshell is interesting. And it's coming from an industry which hates the company represented in the film. It hates the person she's playing because of the way she acts at the time on said network.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron, if you have not seen it yet, is playing Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly in the movie where what was the eye roll for?
Nothing.
No, go ahead.
Well, I don't particularly. She's not one of the people on that network that I can.
She's not on that network anymore.
No, she's not one of the people that I truly despised on that network.
Yeah,
but
we don't want to talk about Brian Kilmeade. Thank you. Her transformation is freaking amazing. You look at the pictures look at the trailer, you look at the poster, she is a dead ringer for Megyn Kelly in this movie.
Yeah.
And she's got the voice and the attitude, and it's like, holy cow, are you serious? Not that Nicole Kidman doesn't do an excellent job at Gretchen Carlson, because she does, but, Charlize is just amazing here.
Well, I mentioned to you when we were talking about this film before, I still say the reason that everyone's so hyped on it is because while it doesn't make, Fox News look like it's,
It's mostly going after Roger Ailes.
Right. It is mostly going after Roger Ailes, which most of the critics...
And most people, most general humans probably would like to do.
Yeah, with most people that have two working...
The Harvey Weinstein of the news set.
Yeah, most people with two working brain cells and a pulse would think was, not a nice person. But considering the fact that most people in that circle of people think that a place like Fox News belongs in the fifth circle of hell or whatever, anything that makes
Fox News and anybody that watches it, remember.
Well,
yeah, I'm just saying. That's what they've said,
Yeah, I know, which isn't nice, and people should try and be a little bit more compassionate on all sides.
Yep.
But I think anything that makes them look, if not bad, then less than good, they're going to jump on.
Yeah.
They're going to jump on and be like, pay attention to this, go see it, watch it.
Well, they've been trying, the wokesters are trying to kill it, so we'll see. I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does, because it's Fox News. It doesn't. They don't care what the storyline is. They don't care that it's a Me Too storyline. They care it's Fox News. So, that's how it works.
Y'all can't see it, but I'm making that dog hearing a strange noise, head tilt
Supporting
thing.
actor nominations: Willem Dafoe for The Lighthouse, which hasn't been brought up from any of the critics list, which is stunning. Tom Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Al Pacino for The Irishman, Joe Pesci for The Irishman, and Brad Pitt, who was the favorite at the Oscars for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think Brad's biggest competition is going to come from Willem Dafoe. Everybody says his performance in The Lighthouse is absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. But then again, The Lighthouse is from the gentleman, Robert Eggers, I think his name is, that made The Witch. The Witch was a huge hit with critics and it completely bombed with the audience. Yeah. It was like a 92 from critics and a 40-something from the real people. The Lighthouse we did not get to see. We made several efforts to get there and we didn't make it. We can now see it on our screeners from IFC, which is good. Hopefully we'll get a chance to watch it. But, Claustrophobic, it's a two-person movie, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Yep.
I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more love from the critics groups, although a lot of them did have him as runners-up. So, and Anthony Hopkins, I would be I don't envy Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Pryce at all. The Two Popes is a very much talked about film. It's gotten rave reviews. And it casts these two men as living popes or people who would be pope. And I wouldn't want that job. Anthony Hopkins is playing Pope Benedict and
the 16th.
The 16th, and Jonathan Pryce is playing Cardinal. The cardinal that became, I can't remember his name, the long name outside, that became Pope Francis. And I'm like, okay. And the discussions they had, this is all based on nothing but imagination.
Yep.
That's why when I announced it when it was on 3 Minute Weekend, I called it a fantasy docudrama. Mm-hmm. Because it's supposed dialogue.
Right. It's like that movie the movie with the guy that I can't think of the name of the movie now. The World War II movie that you saw that you raved about, the guy that talked them out of destroying all the buildings in France.
Diplomacy.
Diplomacy.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the name of it. I knew it was one word. The thing is, with a movie like The Two Popes, speaking as a Catholic, I will acknowledge this. Catholics, the second we hear somebody's going to make a movie about whatever about the Catholic Church, you're going to make somebody upset. Yeah, irregardless of whether or not they see the film.
The film has actually gotten good word of mouth from Catholics, which is interesting.
Which is shocking, really.
Since it's premiere on Netflix. The other one, and that's the unknown factor, is Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is playing Fred Rogers in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. His impersonation, and I wouldn't call it an imitation, his impersonation of Fred Rogers is impeccable. I mean, what we've seen of it in the trailer and on clips that I've seen in interviews that they did at the Toronto Film Festival, he is channeling Fred.
Yep.
And it's frightening. He's not considered a lead. He's only in about 2/3 of the movie. The story is actually the story of the journalist, and that's why he's up for supporting in most categories. Whether he'll get an Oscar nomination is not really known, because The Irishman has got so many good performances and a few other movies, but they're pushing him for it. But I still wonder why he isn't up for Best Actor when Anthony Hopkins won a Best Actor award for 17 minutes of Silence of the Lambs?
Something like that, yeah.
So, I don't know. Supporting actress Laura Dern, Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit, Jennifer Lopez, Hustlers, Florence Pugh, Little Women, Margot Robbie for Bombshell, and Zhao Shuzhen for The Farewell. That, I think, is pretty up for grabs. There's a lot of talent there, a lot of good performances there, from what I've heard. For Best Young Actor or Actress, Nominees are Julia Butters, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Roman Griffin Davis for Jojo Rabbit, Noah Jupe for Honey Boy, Thomason McKenzie for Jojo Rabbit, Shahai Wright Joseph for Us, and Archie Yates for Jojo Rabbit. So we have 3 people from Jojo Rabbit. Mm-hmm. That'll probably cancel everybody out, and it'll probably end up going to Noah Jupe for Honey Boy, which is the fictionalized life story of Shia LaBeouf, which he wrote and performed in as plays his father in this movie. Raves at Sundance. It's been doing very well since coming out in theaters 2 weeks ago. I don't know. It's just one of those movies that I'm not sure I want to see. Because I read the script. The script is available online. This thing, if this is really his life with his father when he was 13, 14, 15, I don't even want to think about what kind of abuse charges that man could have been brought up on. I mean, it's just kind of scary. And Shia himself has acknowledged that. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else terribly important here that we need to go over? Best Animated Film. This is an interesting group of nominees. Abominable, which got great reviews from the critics. Mm-hmm. Frozen 2. Yeah, that was a foregone conclusion. How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Missing Link, which surprised me, and Toy Story 4. Missing Link is from Aardman. Mm-hmm. They always do good work. You've got the thing that's missing from this group, I think, that surprised me, and I think it's because it got bumped again, is the new Shaun the Sheep film, Farmageddon, mm-hmm. which has been bumped out of U.S. release twice now. It was supposed to be out in August. Then they decided December. Now it's coming out in April.
Yep.
So they can't seem to push it enough.
No.
But Abominable got great ratings, got great reviews. And I've heard, actually, from people at work, from parents who saw it, that it was drop-dead funny. Mm-hmm. We still have to watch I Lost My Body. Haven't been to Frozen 2 yet. We probably should go, because we love the first one.
Amazingly enough, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean, amazingly enough?
Well, I mean, we were both kind of like, I don't know. And then we saw it, and it was like, oh my gosh, this movie is so good.
Oh, please, honey, let it go. Please. Just let it go.
You're still mad about that one stunt that I pulled when you started watching the debates. You're still ticky about that.
Best Action Movie. They do categories here. Mm-hmm. 1917, Avengers Endgame, Ford vs. Ferrari, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and Spider-Man Far From Home. Mm-hmm. Interesting list there. Best Comedy nominees, Booksmart, Dolomite Is My Name, The Farewell, Jojo Rabbit, and Knives Out. Best Sci-Fi or Horror Film. Again, this is a kind of a weird misnomer here. Ad Astra, Avengers Endgame, Midsommar, and Us.
Where's your problem with that?
Well, I just think that why is Avengers Endgame in there when it's up for action film too?
Because it's also got science fiction elements.
Not as much, though. It's not really. I mean, it's a superhero film.
Well, yeah, but it's got heavy science fiction elements to it too.
All right, fine.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. I'm sorry. I was just checking for Best Song, which I haven't really talked about this year yet. Glasgow, No Place Like Home from the indie film Wild Rose. I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man. I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough. That's interesting. Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. Speechless from Aladdin. Spirit from The Lion King. And Stand Up from Harriet. Anybody else notice Aladdin and, well, not Aladdin, but Lion King is completely missing from the animated group?
Yeah.
That's because Disney decided to push it as Best Picture. Mm-hmm. And bombed. It is interesting that a movie that is critically reviled in some corners as Rocket Man is starting to get attention at the Oscars. Some of the critics have actually put it on their 10 best list this year. Most of them women, interestingly enough. But Breakthrough getting a song nomination. Breakthrough is, it's a faith-based film, which most critics tend to hate.
No,
it's
hold
tiny.
on. Wait. hate is not the right word.
Tend to dismiss
or snub or look down their noses at.
Tend to dismiss. It got a wide release for 1 week and then it disappeared from everywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised they picked that a song from that movie. So it's like,
well, they can say, "Hey, we put something from it in there, so all you people of faith can stop whining."
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, that could very well be.
That was very cynical on my part, I admit.
The Spirit Award nominations, I think we'll go over in a couple weeks when we get to the Golden Globes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Get a little closer.
And the same with the Golden Globes. We're coming up, but needless to say, we are members of the IF Independent Film thing. We do vote every year. We have a ton of screeners to catch up on in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully that'll get us caught up with most of the stuff except the big blockbusters. Because we got screener for Parasite, we can see most of them online, including Lighthouse and Parasite. Well, no, Parasite be the thing. Lighthouse and a few other things I've been dying to see are there, available for us on the digital thing, and so that'll be great. We have a lot more of award stuff coming up after the first of the year. Mm-hmm. We'll have the awards for these when the nominations are announced and the full awards for the Golden Globes and stuff. You'll want to stay tuned for that as we get into full Oscar season in January.
Yep.
Until then, we're going to have a little bit more when we come back right after this.
Don't go away. Subject Cinema. We'll be right back.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, it's not kid stuff.
The best movies. Subject Cinema.
Welcome back to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 640. This is our year-end special shows, part 1. We've been covering the awards, and now we have to do the sad thing we do every year, and that is covering the incredibly high number of people we lost this year. We're going to stay away from politics and a few other things. We're going to focus mostly on entertainment. There will be a few sports and stuff in here and business. But we have a lot to go over, and I'm sure we didn't get everybody. If we missed somebody, we apologize. We tried to get everybody in. We thought it would be important to our listeners.
Yep.
And so we'll just hit that mark. I thought it was interesting that we lost 3 people on January 2nd last year, and they were all the same age, which I thought was very interesting.
That's weird.
We lost comedian Bob Einstein, who's best known as Super Dave Osborne. We lost Daryl Dragon, the captain of Captain and Tennille, and we lost Gene Okerlund, the legendary professional wrestler announcer. All were 76 years old.
Yep.
Gene is very important in your life.
Yeah,
over the years, as much as Daryl was in mine. So.
Mean Gene Okerlund was definitely someone when I started watching wrestling way back in the mid '80s. He was an interviewer, and I always liked him. I thought he was a really nice guy.
Back in the '80s and '90s, professional wrestling wasn't wrestling without Hulk Hogan standing there going, "You know what, Mean Gene?"
Yeah, really. Seriously, that is so true.
I think my influence, one of my biggest influences in music, and my love for keyboards in particular, belongs to 2 people. One of them still with us, Richard Carpenter. The other, Daryl Dragon. Daryl was a synthesizer master in 1975 When Love Will Keep Us Together shot them into superstardom, along with his then wife, Toni Tennille, who they divorced a couple years ago.
Yep.
Daryl was just an accomplished musician of all types. It started as a keyboard player with the Beach Boys and continued to play and appear with Tony until he became sick with Parkinson's disease in the early 2010s. It's weird to see him and think of him as not with us anymore.
Yeah, it certainly is.
January 3rd, we lost news anchor Sylvia Chase. Chase was on local news as well as ABC for much of her tenure. She was 80. And writer and producer, one of the creators of St. Elsewhere, I'll Fly Away, and Northern Exposure, John Falsey. He was 67. On January 4th, American-born British actress Diana Decker passed away. Diana, best known for films, British films and television over the years, appearing in numerous British television series and movies from the 50s through the 80s. Louisa Moritz also passed away on the, what date is that, the 4th?
4th, yeah.
Larissa, comic actress. Much of her heyday was in the 60s. She appeared a lot on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, doing stuff like Love American Style, but also is known for her appearance in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Canadian screenwriter Norman Schneider, also on the 4th, he was 74. He wrote Dead Ringers, Body Parts, and Casino Jack, among others. And on January 6th, another actor we both are big, huge fans of, W. Morgan Shepherd. I knew him best as Max Headroom's sidekick on the Max Headroom television series, but he has done numerous television and voiceover appearances, including most recently probably known as the head of the Vulcan Science Council in J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek film.
That's true.
And the father of
Mark Shepherd. And it's very interesting because Mark, who is an alumnus of Supernatural, playing the former King of Hell, Crowley, Mark and his dad actually, on more than one show, including NCIS and I believe also Doctor Who, they played the same character, but
older and younger,
which I think is really, really cool. January 9th, we said goodbye to Verna Bloom. She was an American actress. She appeared in such diverse films as Animal House, High Plains Drifter, and The Last Temptation of Christ. Also on the 9th, we said farewell to Paul Koslow, who was a German-Canadian actor appearing in films like The Omega Man, Vanishing Point, and Rooster Cogburn.
Usually as heavies. He specialized in heavies and was really good at it, too. Also
that day, we lost Paolo Paolini, who was an Italian actor. He was 89 years old.
I think it's Paloni.
Paloni? Yeah. I'm not really sure. I'm sorry.
Best known for his role in the 1980 snuff film classic Cannibal Holocaust.
Well, it's not a real snuff film.
No, it's not. But, they thought it was.
It was, however, one of the first, if not the first, found footage film. And because it was so shocking, people involved with the film were brought up on charges, and they had to produce the actors to prove, in fact, that it was not a snuff film and that the actors were actually really alive.
Yep.
So that tells you how much of an impact it had back then.
January 11th, we lost Andrew McLaughlin. Andrew was a very well-known British character actor, 77 years old. He was best known for working with various members of Monty Python, doing many of their films as well as movies that the Pythons were involved with, like A Fish Called Wanda. On January 13th, Sally Fraser passed away. Sally is the lead in the terrible sequel to the terrible film. The sequel, War of the Colossal Beast. She did a ton of schlocky Bert I. Gordon films in the 1950s. She was 86.
Most of which wound up on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
She's also in It Conquered the World and the God-Awful Earth vs. the Spider. And Martha Ross, a character actress who was, for years, part of the British soap scene. She was 79. She was best known for EastEnders and Grange Hill, and was also a regular on BBC Radio as a presenter.
Yep. January 15th was the day that several people passed, including one person that's very well known and beloved on Broadway. Bill Aganos passed away. He was an American stuntman and actor in films like The Warriors, The Bourne Ultimatum, and A Beautiful Mind. Bradley Bolke was an American voice actor. He he lent his voice to such projects as the new Casper cartoon show, Underdog, and one of the Rankin Bass classics, The Year Without a Santa Claus. Carol Channing passed away.
There's your Broadway star.
Yep. The Broadway got a little darker when Carol Channing passed away at 97 on January 15th. Who didn't know Carol Channing?
Who didn't know Carol Channing?
She was an amazing woman on stage in features like Hello, Dolly, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Thoroughly Modern Millie.
And if you haven't seen it, Carol Channing, Larger Than Life, the documentary they released in 2011, is phenomenally good.
Yep.
So
also,
please check it out.
Also that day, Bruce Tuffield passed away. He was a talent agent and manager of such people like Laura Dern, Kelsey Grammer, and Rob Lowe.
On January 21st, Kay Ballard passed away. Kay was not known to this generation, I'm sure,
not really,
as much as ours. She was seen on all kinds of shows. She was a regular on The Mothers-in-Law, on the Doris Day Show. But she was known as a singer earlier in her career, and she became best known to our generation as a permanent panelist, not a permanent panelist, but a rotating panelist on The Gong Show. She would show up there every 4 or 5 weeks. J.P. Morgan was the regular one. She was only there every once in a while. Maxine Brown, the last of the sisters of the country group The Browns, who were very popular in the 50s, passed away. She was 87. And Mike Ledbetter, who is best known for his work with one of our local musicians, blues guitarist Monster Mike Welsh, passed away. He was just 33. Complications from epilepsy. On the 22nd of January, James Frawley passed away. James was known as a television director, many things in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He did direct the Muppet movie, but he was best known for shows like The Monkees. And Fatima Ali, one of the winners on Top Chef, passed away on January 25th. She was just 29 years old. She had developed Ewing's sarcoma, and the show and everybody followed her passage on that, and unfortunately, it ended up costing her. And on January 25th also, Steve Bell, who at the time has been out of the business, but in the 70s and 80s, he was the lead anchor for ABC's Good Morning America television show and World News This Morning. He later became known for other endeavors in the online community. And January 26th, Oscar winner Michel Legrand passed away. Legrand is a film composer known for many movies over the years. Best known probably for his award-winning soundtrack from the summer of 42, but also did Yentl, The Thomas Crown Affair, other things. Won Oscars for all three of those films, actually, 1968, 1971, and 1983.
Multiple Grammy winner James Ingram passed away on January 29th. He was 66 years old. Extremely well-known, prolific songwriter. Some of his bigger hits include Baby Come to Me, I Don't Have the Heart.
One of the songs you absolutely cannot stand.
It's not my style, not really, no. And Yamo Be There. He, as I mentioned, he won a Grammy in 1982 and also in 1985. January 30th saw the passing of Dick Miller. Dick Miller was definitely one of those, hey, it's that guy actors. You saw him in everything.
This generation knew him from his role on 90210, I think, for the most part.
He appeared in Gremlins as Mr. Futterman. Also appeared in the original Corman, along with a lot of other Roger Corman films.
Yeah, he did.
He has a small but very memorable part in Little Shop of Horrors as a guest, a customer who shows up at Mushnick's floral shop to buy flowers to eat. As in biting the heads off of daisies.
Geraniums, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah. And also did voice work for Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Candace Early passed away on January 31st. Candace was on All My Children for many, many years. She was 68. Jeremy Hardy passed away on February 1st. Jeremy was not well known in this country, but in England he was a legend, doing a number of shows over the years, and his comedy. And somebody important to us also passed away on February 1st, the delightful Clive Swift. Clive is a British actor known mostly for British work. American, I don't think he ever did anything or much of anything in America, but American audiences know him instantly as Richard Bucket, the husband of Hyacinth Bouquet in the 1990s BBC sitcom Keeping Up Appearances.
Yep.
He also made appearances on Doctor Who, was a regular on another sitcom just recently, as late as the mid-2010s.
Yeah, you're right. Was it Last of the Summer Wine?
Something like that,
yeah. I think it was Last of the Summer Wine.
And I didn't know he was ill, and I was so stunned to see him leave us this year.
February 3rd, we said goodbye to Julie Adams. She was 92 years old and probably best known for her work as the female lead in The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Or her, 18 million appearances as one of the rotating cast or guests on Murder, She Wrote. I think she did 10 episodes of that show.
Yeah. Julie was unforgettable in her role in Creature as the young woman who winds up being the love interest of said Creature, because I'm sure her and her...
Well, one-sided love interest.
One-sided love interest. Yeah.
And she was billed as Julia Adams in that film, by the way.
Not quite The Shape of Water yet. Yeah. We weren't there yet. But Julie and her white bathing suit probably filled a lot of teenage dreams back in the day. Carmen Duncan passed away on February 3rd. She was an actress from Australia, appearing in Harlequin, Another World, and the film Turkey Shoot.
That was the American show, Another World, the soap opera.
Yep.
The first shocking passing of the year, I think, was February 3rd, when the world was suddenly shaken with the loss of Christophe St. John. Christophe, a huge soap star for over 20 years, first on Generations, then on Young and the Restless. He got his start as a child actor. His big break was as one of the characters on the television series version of the Bad News Bears in 1979, and he would continue to act. He was just 52 years old, and what a loss that was. We also, here in Boston, personal one for us, for me especially, because I was a huge fan, Gary LaPierre from WBZ Radio News passed away. Gary was a host and an anchor on there. He had been suffering from leukemia for a number of years. One of the best, most recognized news voices on the radio in the Boston area. And he will be missed sincerely. Doc Thompson was hit by a train. What a way to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, really.
Doc was just 49. Thompson was a regular, having his own show on the Blaze Radio Network, which is the conservative talk network owned by talk show host Glenn Beck. He also appeared on a number of other networks, including CNN and such, over the years. And as I said, he was just 49 years old.
Yeah. Albert Finney passed away on February 7th. He was 82 years old. A well-established and beloved English actor, famous for films like Tom Jones, Big Fish, The Gathering Storm, and a really great turn in Skyfall as the keeper of Skyfall, which we find out in the film is the ancestral home of James Bond.
Because I completely didn't
My
recognize
favorite
him.
performance of his is as Ebenezer Scrooge in the film Scrooge.
Yeah.
That I loved him in that. February 9th, we said farewell to Salvatore Bellomo, who was a professional wrestler that did work in ASW, the WWF, and ECW. I remember him. They billed him as being from Italy, and he wore the Italian colors and everything like that. February 9th, we also said goodbye to Ron W. Miller. He was an American businessman and a football player. He played for the LA Rams. And at one point, he was the president and CEO of the Walt Disney Company.
Yep, he ushered it in from the late 80s and late 70s and early 80s, and his tenure led to Michael Eisner taking over, which I don't know what that says. It depends on who you're talking to.
And February 9th, Bruce Williams passed away. He was an American Hall of Fame radio host working for WCTC and WMCA, respectively.
Among others, February 10th saw the passing of Carmen Argenzano. Carmen was a regular on the hit series Stargate SG-1 for many years. He also did tons of other episodics, including on Booker and Angels and Demons. And you ever go through, when I'm going through the list and you find somebody you didn't know passed away?
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember hearing about Jan Michael Vincent passing away. He was 73. Vincent, of course, best known for his long-running role on Airwolf, but he was a movie star as well.
Yep.
Starring in movies like The Mechanic, Big Wednesday. His big break was actually in the Disney film, The World's Greatest Athlete.
Yeah, I think that was the first place I ever saw him.
Me too. He was 73, and I was stunned to see that he had passed away. I didn't even know about it. Harvey Scales, singer-songwriter and the composer of the #1 hit from Johnny Taylor, Disco Lady, also passed away on February 11th. He was 78.
February 12th, W.E.B. Griffin passed on. He was an American writer, wrote the books Brotherhood of War, The Corps, and Badge of Honor. Lyndon LaRouche also said farewell to this plane of existence on February 12th. That's not nice.
I know.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry. Lyndon LaRouche was a political crazy who entered the presidential race every year since 1976, I think. And it was, I mean, you didn't have to put up with these people.
No.
Me and Stacy got accosted by a couple of his supporters outside one of the restaurants we usually go to a few years ago. And it was like, are you kidding me?
I don't often get approached by people with clipboards.
No.
I don't know why.
I got it from them once over at South Station too. Back Bay.
I mean, I look approachable, don't I?
Yeah, you do. But you give off this vibe when it comes to Don't Touch Me that they listen to that.
Also on February 12th, this one hurt. Pedro Morales passed away at the age of 76. He was a professional wrestler, one of the most beloved professional wrestlers from the 60s and 70s and into the 80s as well. He was beloved by the Puerto Rican community. He was a Puerto Rican wrestler and had worked for the WWA and the WWF. Yes, look it up, kids.
That's Vince's father.
Yep. And was a commentator for when they became the WWF. He was an amazingly beloved professional wrestler, especially, working in the Northeast territories and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I was never lucky enough to see him wrestle, but he was one of those names that
We've seen him on TV.
When I started getting into wrestling, which as I mentioned was the mid '80s, that Pedro Morales was one of those names that was already way up here.
Yeah.
With people like Bruno Sammartino and people like that.
February 14th, we lost consumer reporter David Horowitz. David was a regular on NBC programming for a number of years and hosted his own syndicated series, Fight Back with David Horowitz, which I watched every week when I was in high school. He was an amazing performer and cared about what the consumers saw.
Yep.
On February 16th, Bruno Ganz passed away. Now, if you know that name, congratulate yourself. He was an accomplished, wonderful German actor, Swiss actor, but based out of Germany, that did all kinds of great productions in Germany, in Europe, in America. But unfortunately, over the last decade, he has become known for one thing: the clip from his movie Downfall, where he is playing Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Downfall was, I believe, a TV movie.
It was
in Germany, which is dealing with the last days of Adolf Hitler, the last days of Adolf Hitler, and the people around him when Germany is falling around their ears.
They've turned that one clip into a meme where everybody retranslates the
German,
subtitles.
Whatever they're talking about.
And he actually found some of them amusing. He thought they were funny. But I'm...
The really funny thing
what a thing to be known for.
Well, the really funny thing was I actually saw him in a movie last year. I watched this movie. I was home one day and I watched this movie called The Party. And I'm like,
was he in that?
Yes.
Okay.
I brought that up because I was like looking at this guy, and there's this guy in the film, and he's this very kind of earthy, crunchy, hippie kind of guy, and I'm like, why do I know that guy? I'm like, I know him, but I don't know why I know him. And then I went and looked him up, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the guy that played Hitler in Downfall. This is hilarious. I mean, it added a whole nother level to the film for me, and I thought that was hysterically funny. February 19th, Karl Lagerfeld passed away. He was 85 years old. Lagerfeld was one of those names that, that was like way up here of the list of stuff you and I can never afford.
Or even care about that much.
Well,
really.
yeah, we're not fashion people.
We're just out there.
Well, we're not fashion people.
No, we're not.
But we're definitely, you knew the name Lagerfeld.
Oh, yeah.
And you
couldn't miss him either.
You knew it meant money. It meant M-O-N-E-Y.
And he'd long been associated with a number of other people. Fred Foster passed away on February 20th. He was 87. Foster was known for his production work in the music industry, Hall of Fame in the record production area. He also co-wrote Chris Christopherson's song Me and Bobby McGee, which later became a monster hit for the late Janis Joplin. Actress Sue Casey passed away on February 22nd. Sue was a character actress seen in a lot of comedies and action films in the 40s and 50s, including The Secret Life of Walter Mitty and Rear Window. Also appeared as recently as the late 90s in American Beauty, another Sam Menzies film. Stanley Donen, one of the best-known directors of all time. He was the creator of Singing in the Rain, which became a monster. Also involved with On the Town, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and a number of other things. He was 94.
Yep. Beverly Owens passed away on the same day. She was an American actress. One of the shows that she was on was The Munsters.
She was the original Marilyn.
The original cousin Marilyn.
Yep.
The ugly one. I don't mean her.
That's
I mean
their
the character.
description.
That was their description of Marilyn, the plain cousin Marilyn. And also on the same day, and this one was a heavy heart one for the both of us.
Both of us, yeah.
Peter Tork passed away. He was 77 years old. He was one member of the seminal 60s group, The Monkees.
One of the original prefab bands.
Yep. And he was just, I always thought, Peter was my favorite out of the Monkees, because I thought his character was kind of sweet and a little innocent and a little dippy, but he was
anything what he was really like.
No.
But any of them were really
he was very kind, and I always thought he had the loveliest smile. And he was also a terrific musician.
Yeah. On February 22nd, Clark James Gable, also known as Clark Gable III, passed away of an accidental drug overdose. He was 30. He was the grandson of Clark Gable. Brody Stevens, actor who appeared in The Hangover, Chelsea Lately, and did his own stand-up stuff, passed away on the same day. He was 48. And Morgan Woodward, I had no idea he was that old. Morgan Woodward, who was 93 when he passed away on February 22nd, was all over Westerns in the 50s and 60s, but still became best known, I think, to our generation as Jock Ewing's best friend, Punk Anderson, on Dallas for, 9 seasons?
Something like
however long it ran.
He was definitely another one of those, hey, it's that guy people.
And February 23rd, one that really crushed me because I was such a huge fan. The delightful Katherine Hellman passed away. She was 89. Katherine was fortunate to have 3 separate phases of her career. She did movies, Broadway, TV, and all of it fantastic. Best known, more than likely, from her 2 iconic television roles, Jessica Tate on the 4-season long running soap, and Mona, Judith Light's spirited and swinging mother in Who's the Boss.
Couldn't have played characters that were more polarly opposite.
I know. She also appeared in Brazil and a number of other films. She was just one of my favorite actresses of all time.
February 25th, we said farewell to Mark Hollis. He was an English singer and songwriter and
lead singer of Talk Talk.
Yep. And also Kathleen O'Malley. She was an American actress in films like My Old Dutch and Wagon Master.
Specialized in a lot of westerns.
And Lisa Sheridan, who was another American actress involved with TV shows such as Invasion, Freaky Links, and Strange Nature. February 26th, we said farewell to Mitzi Hogue, another character actress who was involved with things like We'll Get By, and Geraldine Sanders, who was a writer. Saunders. I'm sorry. Who was a writer and an astrologer, and also the creator of The Love Boat.
She wrote the book Love Boats, which was based on her time as the first ever female cruise director for Princess Cruises. The character was later, her book later became the basis for Julie McCoy on The Love Boat, which she helped create, and the rest is television 70s schlock history.
Yeah, pretty much. You're not wrong.
On February 27th, after Nathaniel Taylor passed away, he was 80. He was best known for his recurring role on Sanford and Son and Slater sequel Sanford, as well as appearances on What's Happening and Trouble Man. Andre Previn passed away on February 28th. He was 89. Composer, conductor, ex-husband of Mia Farrow. Best known for his work on Elmer Gantry and Gigi. And Aaron Tager, 84, he was a Canadian actor, character actor who did a lot of voiceover work and appeared in other films that shot mostly in Canada, like the early X-Men films and Serendipity, plus voiceover work for video games like Donkey Kong Country.
Mm-hmm. March 2nd, we said goodbye to John E. Gallagher, who was a television director in America, working on such shows as ER, Criminal Minds, and The Good Wife.
He's all over episodic drama.
Yep. March 4th, we unfortunately said goodbye to one of the true...
3 people who were all too young to die.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Way too young, and it's so very sad. King Kong Bundy passed away. He was 63 years old. One of the truly massive men of wrestling, one of the real giant, large, big men of wrestling. So big when he demanded a 5 count, he got it, because who's going to tell him no? Keith Flint.
Out of the ring, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Bundy was a pussycat.
He was a very sweet
Frequently
man.
would just hang out with anybody.
Yeah.
Loved, a friend of ours met him. He introduced himself by his real name to our friend, not his spring name.
Mm-hmm. He was also in films and TV. He did work on Married with Children and also in the Richard Pryor film Moving.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Flint passed away also on March 4th. He was a singer. He was the singer for the band The Prodigy. Yep. He unfortunately took his life by hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke Perry, oh gosh, this still hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Luke Perry died from complications from a stroke. He was 52 years old, and that just sucks.
It does suck.
I'm sorry, it is.
Luke's still best known for his role as Dylan on Beverly Hills 90210, but recently I've been building a new audience, a new generation, as Fred Andrews on Riverdale.
Yeah, Archie's dad. Still also well known for being in the movie version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His son Jack is now launching his own career as Jungle Boy in American in All Elite Wrestling.
Yep.
Jack is an amazing athlete. Luke was very, very supportive of him.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of shoot interviews with Jack. We were shot not all that long after he passed away, and he's clearly not over it yet. And
no.
He's only 22. It's like going to be
and his dad's
pretty bad.
His dad was and still is super proud of him. I'm totally sure.
George McGrofin passed away on March 8th. He was a character actor best known for his roles in Oz and the original TV miniseries V. Frankie Smith, the man who urged you to jump on the Double Dutch bus in 1981, passed away. He was 55 or 56. Double Dutch Bus was his only major pop hit, reaching the top 30 on the Hot 100, and is the only song about jump rope I can ever think of that actually made the charts.
Yeah,
it was a catchy song that everybody still remembers, though. He had that gravelly voice. The Double Dutch Bus comes round the street. You couldn't forget that. He was something else.
March 9th, Jed Allen passed away. He was an American actor that was probably best known for his role as C.C. Capwell on Santa Barbara, and also appeared on Days of Our Lives.
He was on Days of Our Lives for years before that.
Yeah, and also appeared on Lassie.
And he hosted Celebrity Bowling for several years that they've run occasionally on one of these weird offshoot cable networks we get. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Yamaguchi-san.
Yes.
Passed away.
Wally Yamaguchi, who was a professional wrestling manager that... For some stupid reason, when they brought together the heel stable Kai and Tai in the WWF at the time, he was referred to as Mr. Yamaguchi-san.
You want to explain why that's stupid?
Completely...
It's like Mr. Yamaguchi, Mr.
Yes, which completely drove me
what
insane.
The heck?
The term san is a term of respect in Japan. Basically, it is. It's like saying Mr. Yamaguchi, Mr.
Yeah.
That is really, really, really wicked ignorant.
Yeah.
He was 60 years old.
On March 11th, Hal Blaine, one of the truly deserving Hall of Fame drummers in the music industry, passed away. He was 90. Blaine played almost all of the drums that Karen didn't play herself as the Carpenters. He also was involved with the Wrecking Crew, the group of studio musicians that played in tons of things in the 60s and 70s. I forgot who played him in Love and Mercy, but he was part of that. He was just an amazing drummer. What Hal and Karen didn't do were done on tour by Cubby O'Brien, the former Mouseketeer. On March 16th, this hurts still.
Yes.
Dick Dale passed away. Dick, the pioneer of surf rock.
This sucks.
Miserlou is one of the best known songs of all time. Thanks to its always being around, but
thanks
more
to it
thanks
being
to
an
Pulp
amazing
Fiction
song,
and wrestling fans will know it from ECW when it was used as what they called the Pulp Fiction segments backstage. The man was everything he played was amazing. Richard Erdman passed away also on March 16th. He was 93. Erdman was a character actor who made his way through a variety of things, but has one standout moment in the war film Tora, 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 where somebody has called to warn Pearl Harbor of the planes flying over, and he tells them, don't worry about it, and hangs up on them.
Now, did that really happen?
No.
Is that
it's speculation.
Apocryphal or whatever you call that word?
And David White passed away. David was the songwriter and the chief guitarist, I believe it was, behind the 50s band Danny and the Juniors. He was 79.
Larry Cohen passed away on March 23rd. He was an American film director, mostly known for horror films, and mostly known for horror films that are
bad.
Odd. Let's go with odd. Let's go there.
It's Alive is considered really bad.
It's Alive, which was a film about a mutated baby that goes on a murderous rampage. And The Stuff, a film about a sentient dessert that eats people from the inside out. Ew. And he was also a screenwriter. He wrote the screenplay for the thriller Phone Booth with Colin Firth and Colin Farrell. I'm sorry.
Colin Farrell,
Colin Farrell and Kiefer Sutherland.
Colin Firth would have
been
dead in a movie
sorry,
like that.
My bad.
Ranking Roger passed away on March 26th. He was 56. Ranking Roger, best known as a member of the Beat, also known as the English Beat, and the later successive band General Public. Maury Laws. If you don't know the name, you know the music. Maury wrote almost all of the music for the Rankin Bass cartoon classics library, including Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, and The Little Drummer Boy. He was 95. Shane Rimmer passed away on March 29th. He was 89. Shane was a Canadian-born British actor, best known for voiceover work on TV series made by Jerry Anderson, particularly Thunderbirds, but also appeared in physical form in films like The Spy Who Loved Me and Dr. Strangelove. And the legendary film director Agnes Varda passed away on March 29th. She was 90. Agnes has been, as she put it, she was not a woman director, she was a director. She wasn't putting up with all this stuff that was going on in the last couple of years. Her stuff is classic, including Cleo from 5 to 7, Le Bonheur, and Vagabond. Many of her films have recently just been re-released by I've forgotten which, I think it's Rialto Media that handled them. And there's, of course, Varda by Agnes documentary that came out last year, which got raves. Finally, March 31st, we saw Nipsey Hussle pass away. He was shot. Nipsey, popular rapper for many, many years over the course of the last decade or so. He was just 33. That's going to take care of the first third of the year, and we'll do a few more on this next show and a few more on the upcoming shows and maybe into next year. There's just so many, we don't want to waste time going over all of them.
We don't want to bury you guys under all of this information all at once.
Anthony's already calling it the death zone or something, like he always does.
Captain Tat. Hey, Anthony.
Subject Cinema.
We'll be right back.
Blockbuster or bomb, it's all good for us. This is Subject Cinema
Want to be a part of Subject Cinema? Then email us. Your ideas, suggestions, and comments keep us going. SubjectCinema@PNRNetworks.com.
Want to listen to Subject Cinema on the go? Check out Stitcher. You can access all the latest episodes right from iPhone or Android. Check it out. Click on the Stitcher logo on our sidebar or go to Stitcher.com and search for your favorite PNR Network show. Get started today.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
We have so much more to do, but it's not all going to be on this show. We have 3 more days to wrap things up. We'll continue our look at the passings on tomorrow's show.
To do this, yes,
because there's been so many we lost.
Oh, I know.
Also on tomorrow's show, we will talk about the big entertainment news of the year. Different stories, different craziness going on.
Some good news, some bad news.
Cover a little bit of everything, major discussions and everything. Coming up on our show on the 30th, our Just 'Cause We Can awards for I think this should be Just As They Are awards because we've only seen a few films. And some sort of awards for Poppy's and Rosie's sort of style awards on New Year's Eve, and we hope you'll be there for that. And we do have some great shows coming up as part of Subject Cinema 2020. We'll hope you'll watch those or listen to those as you do, or you can watch the logo on YouTube.
If you want to, sure.
You're more than welcome to listen.
Because we ain't putting our mugs up for you guys to look at.
Well, no, I would do that if we had a decent facility and some cameras. I wouldn't mind having video cameras here while we're doing the show. I mean, you'd have to put some clothes on.
I am not.
Let's be honest with our loyal listeners. We usually sit here in pajamas and stuff doing the show.
Yes, but fine. Yeah. I just wanted to.
She's fully dressed today.
Yes.
I didn't mean it that way.
Holy cow! It's not that kind of a podcast.
No. We have lots of interesting stuff coming up in the next year. We hope we'll tell you more about it tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll also tell you more about other things tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday. We hope everyone had a wonderful holiday.
Yes.
What did you think of Christmas? This was hard for you because your first Christmas without your mom.
Yeah, it was weird to not have my mom here at Christmas time, and but thanks to the support of my family and my friends, and especially you, and especially the reason for the season, I got through it okay, and
I got tons of cool loot too.
I got lots of cool swag. I'm very happy with my swag.
Until my woman knows me, from her Pioneer Woman's New Cookbook, book on disasters, the double DVD set of The Quake and the Wave, and an Orson Welles film I haven't seen yet that I've wanted to see, The Stranger.
And a book on Karen Carpenter you'd never heard of, and along with other things. But it was good. I mean, it was sad. I mean, I had moments where I was like, the weird thing is when I had my moments of being like, oh, I miss her so much and stuff like that, I had those moments, but then I was like, well, I don't miss her because she's still in here.
Yeah.
And
I went through that last year with my mom.
And that really helped. But like I said, the support of people at work, my family, you, all of you guys on the internet that have been so nice, and like I mentioned, the reason for the season.
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to speak at Midnight Mass at my church because I still think I'm probably the only person dumb enough to do it when they ask. And that was really, really important for me to be able to be there with all of my friends that are at my church. That was really special. And then on Christmas Day, we were able to have an amazing dinner cooked by my sweetums, who made this incredible shrimp scampi with puff pastry. And oh my gosh, I wanted to suck every single thing off the plate because it was so good.
I was going
crazy
and he is
for awesome.
3 or 4 days trying to find the ingredients.
So good.
Because I nobody around here had the vermouth I needed. I had to order it on from Instacart.
Yeah.
And
now we got booze. Yay!
Yeah. But I'll tell you, it's America's Test Kitchen recipe. It was number 1 on their recent
So
20th
good.
anniversary special as the most popular segment, and it was.
I don't think I'd
amazing.
I'd never had shrimp scampi before, so I was a little bit like.
I did it instead of doing it. Some people do it with bread. Some people do it with pasta.
Mm-hmm.
I put ours in puff pastry cups.
Yeah.
And it was
so
phenomenally good.
I was nervous. I have to be honest. I was a little nervous, but
it was shrimp. I knew it was shrimp. It was garlic. I knew you'd like it.
But I was like, the second I had it, like, took a mouthful, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I should learn not to doubt you, because he's an amazing cook. It's ridiculous how good of a cook he is.
Well, I practice at it, and now I've got new.
But you have a natural talent for it too. You can.
I've been cooking since I was a teenager.
You can practice till the cows come home, but if you don't actually like infuse some of yourself into what you're cooking, it's just there.
I could do a candlelight supper if I wanted to.
You could, but knowing me, I'd probably set my hair on fire.
On that note, we should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
We hope you'll continue to listen to our year-end specials and enjoy what we've got and everything we have coming up in the new year.
Yep. And also, we should say, if you are partying at this time of year, because everybody's having parties, and that's cool.
Please do it safely.
Please
don't
do it
drink
safely.
And drive.
Don't
Take
drink and
Uber
drive.
or Lyft to get home.
Or if you are going to drink, take an Uber, take a cab, have a designated driver. We want you here next year at this time for another list and talks of us rambling and silliness. We want you here all year, but you get it. Because we love you.
For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2018 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.